Okay, and before we start, let's recite Kitab Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so make sure you dah mark your attendance in U feature. Okay, so today I will explain on the theory part, okay, theoretical part on how you can come up with the UML, okay, for your project, okay, and Madam One, when Madam One Amarina will be um, elaborate more in terms of the documentations of the requirements analysis, okay. Okay, hopefully you can view my file.ppt right now. Boleh? Boleh tengok
Boleh doktor.
Boleh.
Okay. Okay, so in these topics, you are going to learn uh, things in the problem domain. Okay, so things in the problem domain include the data entities, the class domain, okay, the domain model class diagrams, and also the ERD. Hopefully you still can remember the entity relationship diagram. Lagi saya nak masuk. Okay, so things in the problem domain include entities and also the class attributes involved in your class diagrams. Okay, it is actually a way to describe a model real world entities. Okay, kenapa you nak describe semua entities yang ada dalam you punya system? Okay, it is because to identify the relationship exists between them. Okay, and the relationship that exists between the entities. Okay, what are the associations that exist between all the entities involved in your system? Okay, so actually the things in the problem domain, it is actually derived from dari sudut kefahaman on the system level requirements itself. Okay, in identifying the domain entities and also the relationships, okay, that provides effective and effectively for basic understanding lah, okay, to help you as a system designer to design the system and also to control the system dari segi maintainability boleh jagalah, okay, boleh di test, okay, testability and also incremental developments lah. Okay. So learning objective of this topic, okay, is to explain how the concept of things in the problem domain, okay, maknanya things in problem domain ni, it also help us to define requirements for our system. Okay. Second objective is to identify and analyze data entities, okay, and domain classes that you really need in your system. Okay. And last but not least, to read, interpret, and create a domain model class diagram. Right. Baru 58 orang ni, sepatutnya ada 80 lebih kan. Mana lagi yang lain? Class rep tolong minta your class member untuk join the class today. Baru 58. Okay. Okay, so this topic focuses on another key concept for analyzing requirements, okay, which means kita kena identify the data entities and also domain classes, okay, so that it will help us to identify more requirements for our system, okay, so the documentations of the UML is very crucial and vital in any system development, okay, as it will help you to identify um, requirements for your system. Okay, so things in the problem domain, okay, which is referred to the specific area, okay, of the user's business needs that is within the scope of the new system. Okay, things are those items users work with when accomplishing tasks that need to be remembered. For example, okay, products, sales, you are the shippers, you are the customers, invoices and payments. So you have one particular enterprise systems and you need to identify all the things that involve in your enterprise system, which involve biasanya ada produk, okay, ada hasil jualan, okay, ada dari segi logistics dia, in terms of the customers, okay, invoices and all the transactions involved in your enterprise systems. Okay, so these things are modeled as domain classes or data entities. Okay, so in every system that you are going to develop, you need to identify what are the domain classes and data entities involved in your system. Okay, so all those data entities and domain classes tu, kalau kita akan panggil dia sebagai inilah data entities in your domain of your systems. Okay, so there are actually two techniques, okay, for identifying the problem domain in your system. Okay, the first technique is the brainstorming technique. Okay, so brainstorming techniques ni biasa dia akan gunakan checklist lah. Okay, dia akan gunakan checklist, okay, of all the usual types of things that typically found and brainstorm to identify domain classes of each type. Okay, dan ada juga satu lagi teknik yang dipanggil sebagai noun techniques. Okay, it will identify all the nouns that come up when the system is described and determine if each is a domain class, an attribute or not, something we need to remember. Okay, so I will go detail for each technique. Okay, so let's start with brainstorming technique. Okay, are there any tangible things? Are there any organizational units or sites or locations or other incidents or events that needs to be recorded? So these are all the elements that you need to bear in mind when performing a brainstorming technique. Okay, for example, these are the elements or things that you need to consider, okay, when conducting brainstorming technique in analyzing the requirement for your system. Okay, so for the first one is tangible things. Okay, you need, dia bagi contoh dekat sini ada airplane, ada book, vehicles, document and worksheet. Sorry, ada yang nak masuk lagi. Some of you ada yang terlibat dengan booster jab kan. Ada yang beberapa orang yang message saya tadi. Okay. So for tangible things, okay, what you need to do is to actually uh, ask users, okay, to name all the things that they work with, types of things, okay, focusing on the domain yang terlibat dalam pelaksanaan sistem. Okay, contoh, apakah things yang biasanya common in that particular system. For example, we have airplane, book, vehicle, document and worksheet. Okay, so ini adalah contoh-contoh the tangible things that available in the domain. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so for roles played, okay, roles played meaning that any actors that involved in the system. Okay, for example, who exists in a particular task in the system. Contohnya ia melibatkan organizations, a particular organizations that involve numbers of employee, okay, and also the customer, okay. And if you are dealing with the healthcare systems, okay, it will basically involve doctor, the patients, okay, and of course the end user, the user system, and the system administrator as well. Okay, so it is actually involve the actor who involved in the systems. Okay, that is for the roles played. Okay, next we have uh, organizational units. Okay, what are the divisions involved? Okay, and is there any department or section, work group or task force? Okay, so you need to clarify all these things. Okay, mengikut these elements yang dah disediakan lah. Okay, so it is a kind of guidelines or rules that you need to consider in uh, uh, make a listing of the available entities in your system. Okay, in terms of the devices, okay, sensor, timer, the controller, okay, until the inventory bin. Okay, those are the devices that might include in your systems, okay, and also in terms of the sites and locations, the incidents, events or interactions. So you perlu identify each of the elements yang ada di bawah setiap bahagian ini. Okay, from the tangible things until the incidents, events or interactions. Then you tak kata overlook lah any possible requirements for your system. Okay. Alright. Okay. So let's move to the steps. Okay, to conduct brainstorming techniques. Okay, so basically there are several steps here. Okay, before we enter the second techniques or requirements analysis. So the first thing you should do is to identify a user and a set of use case. Okay, you need to pick a user and find some use case or user stories. Okay, to for a particular task that you have in your system. Okay, and the second step is to brainstorm with the user to identify things involved and carrying out the use case. Okay, kita dah identify use case tadi dan kita perlu identify anything that involved to perform or to carry out the tasks that involved with the use case. Okay, that is things about which information should be captured by the system. Can the third techniques of the third steps for brainstorming technique is use the types of things. For example, you buat category. Kenapa kita kena buat kategori? To systematically ask questions about potential things such as, are there any tangible things you store information about? Okay, are there any locations involved? Are there roles played by people that you need to remember? So you need to what we call brainstorm with users to find all the things that might involve in use cases. Okay. And then in step 4, what you need to do is to continue to work with all type of users and stakeholders to expand the brainstorming list. Okay, so in your system, contohnya you buat satu sistem yang melibatkan uh, uh, beberapa focus group lah. Okay, contoh you ada stakeholders and you ada end user. Okay, so for stakeholders, you need to uh, clarify all the tangible things that they might think. Okay, and for the end user pun sama lah, you kena try to uh, find the possible possible things that you may find in the system. Okay, from the users and also from the stakeholders. Try to expand more the brainstorming list. Okay, and last but not least, okay, you merge the results, eliminates any duplicates and compile or initial list lah. Okay, maknanya dekat sini once you have find out all the possible list, okay, all the possible entities and attributes in your system, dan di step yang terakhir barulah you boleh senang cakap macam you boleh tapis lah, buat tapisan mana yang perlu, mana yang tak perlu untuk you memulakan next steps in UML design. Right? Boleh faham cakap ni kelas? Okay?
Faham.
Okay.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, next we move to next technique, okay, which is on the noun technique. Yang ni biasa you pun dah biasa lah buat. Okay, you pun dah come out dengan your own class diagram for your prototype, right? Okay, so a noun technique ni is to identify problem domain class by finding, classifying and refining a list of nouns that come up in discussions or documents. Okay, it does end up with long lists and many nouns that are not things that need to be stored by the system. Okay, difficulty identifying synonyms and things that are really attributes. Okay, so dekat sini you boleh identify lah what the appropriate or suitable nouns for each attributes that you have identified in from the brainstorming techniques. Okay, so it is actually a good place to start when there are no users available to help brainstorm. Okay, so these are the examples of the identified noun. Okay, and ada some notes here. Okay, for each identified nouns. Okay, jadi I hope you can read on your own. Okay. Alright. Okay, so for the more details on the noun techniques, okay, using the use cases, actors, and other informations about the systems, including inputs and outputs. Okay, so from the use case, actors, and other information about the system, you need to find out the possible nouns. Okay, from these elements. Okay, using other information from existing system, current procedures, and current reports or forms, you may add items or categories of information needed. Okay, so from the list, okay, from the list of nouns that you have filled, okay, then you need to refine it. Ask this question about each noun to help you decide whether you should include it. Dia ada tiga possibilities. Okay, whether from the list that you have come out with, okay, you
Go
you
ke apa?
perlu ada beberapa soalan lah untuk you perlu tanya dekat diri you sendiri. So daripada jawapan tu, you can decide whether you want to include the list or you want to exclude the list, okay, or you may want to research the list, okay. So for anything that you might include in your UML, okay, you should ask yourself lah, okay, is it a unique thing the system needs to know about, okay, or is it inside the scope of the system you are working on, or does the system need to remember more than one of these items? Okay, so you should ask yourself about all these so that you may um, you can ensure what types of the cardinality or association that exists between the uh, attributes in your systems. Okay, so for exclude, okay, is it really a synonym for some other things I have identified? Okay, is it really just an output of the system produced from other information I have identified, or is it really just an input that results in recording some other information I have identified? Okay, so by just looking at these questions, okay, it might um, mungkin you masih blur lagi, tapi once we move to the documentation part of this topic, then you will understand more lah. Okay, so it is just the theoretical concept of how you can come up with a clean attributes or association that exists um, uh, between the data entities in your system. Okay. Okay, the four techniques for noun techniques is four steps in noun techniques is to create a master list of all nouns identified, and then note whether one should be included, excluded, or research further. Okay, so how to select which one from the list, from the master list that you have created, is by answering all these questions. Okay. And last but not least, you can review the list with users, stakeholders, and team members, and then you can define the list of things in the problem domain. Okay, once you dah sampai ke step yang kelima ni, dan barulah you boleh identify yang mana betul-betul attributes ataupun association yang you boleh guna dalam your system. Okay, somehow untuk biasanya kalau uh, postgraduate research lah biasanya. Contoh you ada beberapa instances yang you nak guna. Contoh you ada 200 instances untuk kaji satu uh, case study. Okay, so daripada 200 instances yang dia dah list tu, okay, so macam mana dia nak come out dengan instances yang betul-betul dia guna, yang boleh dia come out dengan satu research yang efficient, yang tak membazir masa. Daripada 200 instances tu, dia kena conduct analisis seperti inilah. Okay, maknanya dia kena identify mana instances yang betul-betul digunakan dalam research. Okay, so that dia tak buang masa kita untuk any instances yang tak perlu. So that is why you need to do this technique, to conduct this technique first. Okay, requirement analysis techniques. Okay, as we move to attributes. Okay, hopefully you faham ya apa itu attributes. Plus, ada lagi ke yang masih tak faham attributes tu apa?
Kalau aku tidur pukul 6 aku
Semua faham ke? Attributes?
semua dah sampai ke 10.
Plus?
Lepas present lepas aku present stop
Tak betul mah.
Oh. Oh, tak jadi macam dekat eh.
Eh,
Baik, sekejap ya, saya nak
Ikut bodoh waktu aku dah
minum
berair
air
je.
sekejap ya.
betul. Alam ni, tadi aku pecah rekod. Alam ni aku pergi snooker tak?
Aku dah lah lecturer aku. Sial lah. Kelas pukul 2. Lepas tu dia nak buat kelas pukul 4. Kencau tu.
Ni kau
Pada
tidur barat ya ni?
tu minta masuk aku. Masalahnya pukul 4 tu dalam jadual dah habis kelas tu.
Ya, lecturer kau yang beria ni.
Sial.
Dia buat kelas kompat.
Kelas pukul 4. Padahal keempat tu patutnya dah habis kelas. Apa saya nak belajar petang-petang?
Lecturer kau. Ni kalau kita main kom tak kantuk, serius.
Ya eh?
Main tak, masalahnya main rater macam main kom tau. Enemy babat slow. Aku main dengan Adil semalam. Dah hujung-hujung baru dia masuk. Aku cakap dengan dia tak boleh ni. Kantuk lah ni. Gerak dulu. Bapak bosan nak mampus je.
Malam
Okay,
malam ni kan?
let's continue.
Malam ni ke esok?
Okay, so for attribute, it describes one piece of information about each instance
Esok.
of the class. For example, you have a table customer here in your system. Okay, and the attributes that we have in the customer table is first name, last name, and phone number. So the first name, last name, phone number is what we call attributes.
Aku nak watch macam mana
Okay, next we have identifier or key, meaning that there is one attribute, okay, that uniquely identifies an instance of the entire class. Okay, it is required for data entities, okay, but optional for domain classes. Okay, domain classes ni maknanya domain class yang dia tak ada methods yang terlibat dalam kelas tersebut. Okay, so for example, customer table tadi we have customer ID. So the purpose to
Apa yang nak masa tahu?
tak dia apa
Ayo.
we need to create customer ID is to identify customer dan macam mana dia boleh identify all the instances yang terlibat dalam within the class lah. Okay, dan juga mungkin juga macam mana dia nak menghubung kaitkan and associate with any other class yang berhubung dengan class customer. Okay, and next we have also here compound attribute. Okay, compound attribute is two or more attributes combined into one structure to simplify the model. For example, address rather than including number, as the street, city, and state zip separately. Okay, sometimes an identifier or key is a compound attribute juga. Okay, maknanya dia menggabungkan beberapa informations in just one instance ataupun attributes. Okay, hopefully you tak tertukar ya dengan identifier or key attributes ya. Okay, attributes and values. Each attribute in a class, okay, in a particular class, biasanya dia akan ada value lah. Okay, so class is a type of thing. Object is a specific instance of the class and each instance has its own value for an attribute. Okay, so each value tu pula dia ada dia punya apa? Dia punya data type lah. Okay, so for example here we have kita ambil contoh class customer class tadi, okay, or entity. So in this class we have 5 attributes here. We have customer ID, we have first name, last name, home phone number, and work phone number. So these are called as attributes or instances in the attributes in the
Aku dah
class
banyak kali ni. Betul
customers.
kan? Serius
Okay,
ah? Kau dah banyak kali ni.
so each
Aku ada
customer
handle tu.
has a
Tak ada.
value for each attribute. Okay, you tengok dekat
Tak
sini
nampak kau
customer
ada.
ID, we have
Lain.
three
Aku
data
dah banyak
here.
kali ni.
Okay, we have 101, 102, 103 that represents for
Tak ada
the
tapi dia
three
sebut je.
customers.
Tak, aku
Okay,
nampak kau
John, Mary,
ambil
and
ID first.
Bill. Okay, so John, Mary, Bill apa semua ni, ini adalah actually refer to
Broken
the
sia mak ni.
values of the
Lain panas sial
attributes.
tu pakai battle.
Okay,
Broken sia.
dia punya
Boleh tak?
different states ni kita panggil
Dia
sebagai
sikit je.
data type. Alright, yang tu I rasa you dah faham.
Oh yo. Aku
Okay,
tak tahu
next
pula benda ni
we
siap.
move to the associations. Okay,
Aku tak
a
beli.
naturally occurring relationship between
Ni
classes.
nampak
Okay,
aku open kan.
so we have example here.
Kan kadang-kadang ranking tu
Um,
pelik-pelik kan.
Ya tu.
associations meaning that we want
Babi
to
betul. Sofa tu
portray
bekas babi.
the relationship that exists between the entity in a particular system. Okay, so
Cakap
now we
belakang
have order. We have class order.
Kena one tap sia.
Okay, from who? From Mr. Smith. Okay, with ID, order ID 1043. Okay, so 1043 is actually the primary key, the attributes key or the identifier for class order. Okay, that is made by Mr. Smith. Alright, who works in accounting department. So ini adalah contoh organisation or sections or work group
Oh.
that we identify during the early stage of the requirement analysis. Ingat lagi tak dekat teknik yang pertama tadi? Okay, so we need to identify any cluster or organization ataupun sections that exist in a particular system. Okay. Okay, so ini adalah association that exists lah between yang melibatkan order Encik Smith ni. Okay, so the association is placed by works in contains. Okay, so the order 1043 contains this the orders that have been made by Mr. Smith.
Keluar pula.
Okay.
Oh aku boleh cancel aku punya E tu. Aku lupa sekarang.
Okay, next we have. Okay, kita masih berada di association. Okay, it is called
Okay.
association on class diagram in UML.
Risau
Okay,
ambil lah.
it is
ambil lah.
multiplicity is term for the number of associations between
Takpe ambil
classes. For example, we have one to one or one to many.
lah.
Okay. Then we have another terms called relationship. Okay, biasanya ini biasa kita akan jumpa dalam ERD. Okay, in database class. Okay, which basically it will involve the terms of cardinality. Okay, cardinality is the term for number of relationships in entity relationships diagrams. For example, one to one or one to many. Okay, nak saya tunjukkan juga. Okay.
Ada yang dapat sini. Ini that shit. Woi kena ni. Woi kena.
Asap pula ah. Kau spek.
Okay, macam mana nak bezakan cardinality and also association? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sorry to interrupt. Are you drawing on the Jamboard?
Boleh tengok tak?
I cannot access it. You need to make it public first.
Alright, okay.
Alright. No problem.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Dekat mana ni? Kau
I
tengok.
forgot to change the settings.
Kau flank dia ke apa?
Okay, boleh ke?
Boleh. Thank you so much.
Power tu.
Ni masih tahu.
Okay, let's say you have
Tersettle, tersettle.
Sebab ada
this
2 orang
one,
dekat situ.
we have association and
Kau
cardinality.
betul.
Okay,
Aku tak ada yang tengok orang kat
okay.
mana.
So actually association ni
Tak ada
is
weapon.
the connection
Da 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 da.
between
Da 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 da.
two things.
Tak suka.
Okay,
Tak nak. Tak
let's
nak.
say ni kita ada satu data modeling.
Ha. Kau ingat aku tak boleh main seorang? Aku main buat TikTok.
Okay, so dekat mana cardinality berlaku di sini? Okay, within a data modeling, okay, the cardinality of a join between two tables, okay, the cardinality of the two tables is actually the numerical relationship exists between rows, okay, of one table and rows in the other table. Okay,
Sikit.
ya, saya ambil contoh satu sistem healthcare record system lah.
Babi tadi.
Okay, in healthcare record system we have
Ui.
these three
Dah sampai
tables.
depan lah babi. Paper tu.
First one we have doctor, next we have patient, and we have also here
Boleh main
encounter.
punya sense kan tinggi kan. 0.6 kan.
Okay, so
Tapi
for
tak
the
boleh kau sekarang main
cardinality,
sense dia
it
0.6.
include one to one, one to many, and many to many. Okay, so for example, consider you ada database on the electronic health records lah. Okay, so database could contain tables,
Kan? Kalau dia gerakkan mouse
doctor,
slowly.
patient, and encounter. So a doctor table,
Panas.
biasanya it contains the information about physicians, right? Okay, and the patients is a
Ada interaction
table
ni.
for medical subjects who undergoing the treatments, and encounter ni
Agak susah
to
juga.
record the entry for each hospital visit made by
Kelakar.
physicians. Okay, so kalau kita tengok secara logik lah, dia ada natural relationship
Tengok
that
beza
exists
0.55.
between these entities.
Kan?
Okay, for example,
Faham?
for table account encounter, okay, such as encounter with involving many doctors yang akan visit. Okay, so there is
Lagi-lagi
also a
tengah
many
game
to
lagi.
many relationship between records in doctor and also records in patient.
Scam.
Betul tak? Betul tak? Kan? Because the patients can have
Boleh
many
pula.
uh, because patient can have many doctors at one time. Okay, and and the doctor can treat many patients at a time. Okay, so what I mean with accordingly is this one. Macam mana dia berhubung baik di antara all this. It's actually association. Accordingly is actually a part of the association. Okay, the part of association. Okay, we back to the
Aswan dah tu.
slide.
Hello? Babi bulat.
Hello.
Asal? Mau panggil tak nak angkat? Sorry bodoh aku tak ada ni.
Kau baru bangun ke?
Tak ah. Aku tak tidur lagi. Kenapa nak? Tak berombok.
Okay, so perhatikan dekat sini. Associations between multiplicity is a term of the number of association between
Ui, sikit
classes,
lah.
but cardinality is term for number of relationships in
Apa
ERD.
emang?
Okay, you kena faham lah
Macam
dia punya differences between these two. It's quite similar tapi dia ada bezaannya lah. Okay, in terms of theoretically dia punya meaning lah between these two terms.
potong siap.
Okay, so how to come out with association and cardinality between the entities in your system is you need to do these three things. Okay, first you need to read them separately each way. Okay,
Mana?
because on one side dia punya cardinality mungkin berbeza and so for another way dia akan ada cardinality yang berbeza juga. So that's why you need to uh, read the association between two class dalam ni lah two way lah. Okay, so for example a customer places an order and an order is placed by a customer. You perlu baca untuk kedua-dua side so that you tak terlepas lah dia punya, you tak overlook dia punya perkaitan between that exists between those two entities. Okay.
Sebab dia drop
Associations have minimum and maximum constraints. Sorry. Okay. Minimum is 0, okay, where the association is optional. It means that ada task yang tak perlu pun user tu buat sebelum dia boleh move to another task. Okay, that is optional. If minimum is at least 1, the association is mandatory. Okay, boleh tengok dekat sini. Mr. John has placed no order yet. Okay, but there might be many placed. Many order will be placed over time. So dia punya minimum dekat sini adalah 0. Dia punya cardinality dekat sini adalah 0. Okay. Second one is a particular order is placed by Mr. Smith. Okay. So there can be an order without stating who the customer is. Okay, so the order must be made by individual. So the association or the multiplicity is one and only one. Okay, so it is actually the mandatory relationship. Dia perlu ada, contoh dia ada satu task ni, ia melibatkan 3 proses. Okay, untuk perform second and the third process, you need the user is mandatory to perform the first step, or the first process. Okay, so untuk situasi macam ini, you perlu state that the association for this is mandatory relationship. Okay. Next, an order contains at least one item, but it could contain many items. Okay, so this is for one or more mandatory or relationship lah. Right? Okay, next we have different types of
He kena wanted.
that's it. Okay, we have class, domain class, class diagram, domain model, class diagram. Yang ni actually dia nak menunjukkan dari segi
Dekat sini.
ni lah
DP di belakang je tu.
susun atur
Shot
untuk setiap kelas yang terlibat dalam sistem. Biasanya dia akan identify kelas dulu, a single class. Okay, a category of classification used to describe a collection of objects. Okay, so class ni is actually a group, a descriptions of a group objects all with that have similar roles in your system. Okay, so biasanya dia akan consist of kita panggil sebagai
Tu, ada orang kat belakang.
Okay, the other consists of structural and also behavioral features. Okay, so for structural, okay, it basically it will represent the state of an object of the class. Okay, whereas for behavioral, it will define the way in which the objects may interact. Okay, we boleh beza between these two. Okay, then we have domain classes.
Yeru beli
Okay,
by.
that describes object in the problem domain. Okay, so for the domain class, it represents actually an abstractions of entities yang ada common criteria. Okay, and it also represents the relationship between the class. Okay, and we move to class diagram. Okay, a UML diagram that shows classes with attributes and associations. Okay, and domain model class diagram. It is a class diagram that only include classes from the problem domain but not include methods. Okay, saya akan tunjukkan satu-satu. Okay, perbezaannya. Okay, untuk domain model class diagram. Okay, for example, table class customer. Okay, yang ni dia tak ada methods. Okay, so dia dipanggil sebagai domain model class diagram. Okay, it has no methods. Okay, always capitalized. Attributes names are not capitalized and use camelback notations. Okay, kalau you perasan dia gunakan camelback notations in portraying the attributes in the class. Okay.
Yo, dapat juga.
Okay, now we have a domain model class diagram. Okay, which involve these three tables. Okay, customer, order, and the order item. Okay, so these are the association that exists between these three tables. Okay. Now we can see there are 5 attributes in customer table. Okay, 3 attributes in order tables and also 3 attributes in order item table. Okay, so let's see the relationship exists between these 3 tables. A customer placed 0 or more orders. Okay, hopefully next time when you find these statements, you can understand okay macam mana dia punya proses untuk order task ni bila ia melibatkan perkataan zero. Okay, a customer places 0 or more orders. Okay, back to here. Okay, what does it mean with the 0 here? It means the process is optional. Okay, process is optional. An order is placed by exactly one customer. Okay, setiap order perlu dilaksanakan oleh at least satu individu. Okay, so it is a mandatory relationship here. Okay, an order consists of one or more order items. So it involve one to many relationship between the order and order items. And an order item is part of exactly one order. Okay, kalau ikutkan benda ni boleh fikir logik, secara logik. Cumanya you perlu get yourself familiarized with the cardinality. Okay, macam mana nak tulis, macam mana you nak gambarkan all those associations tu dalam bentuk UML. Okay. Next we have notation for multiplicity. Okay, so tadi kita ada cardinality yang melibatkan macam ada macam kaki gagak kita panggil, kaki burung gagak. Okay,
Mana sofa dia?
ataupun dia boleh persembahkan dalam notation of multiplicity 0 and 1. Okay, so ini adalah macam mana you nak ni lah, for 0 or 1 you need to write like this lah. Okay, for 1 and only 1, for mandatory relationship you just put 1. Okay, for more or alternate, apa-apa yang melibatkan more ataupun alternate ataupun optional relationship, you need to use this symbol. Okay, the star symbol. Right?
Oh, kita
Yang ni
punya
pun
view pun
saya rasa tak
dah
ada masalah untuk you faham macam mana nak persembahkan dalam bentuk simbol ataupun notation for multiplicity for each relationship. Okay, so kat sini bagi contoh domain model class diagram for a bank with many branches. Okay, saya nak test lah untuk I will ask you randomly, select
sorry Dr.
siapa-siapa dalam
Punya
ni, dalam
line tak out.
kelas ni untuk jawab macam mana you nak come up with a statement that shows the associations or cardinality that exists between these groups. Okay,
Ui, dah boleh off.
untuk
Dah boleh off.
sistem bank ni. Ya.
Tak dengar bro. Dia ada off.
Okay, Abdul Azim.
Babi ya. Bawa bank pula.
Ya, saya.
Okay, can you please explain or tell your friends what are relationship that exists between customer and account? You kena highlight the cardinality.
Dia punya customer, one customer can have many account, and one account only for one customer.
Alright, good Azim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Amiruddin Anwar. Amiruddin Anwar ada? Ahmad Ashraf.
Alamak. Kantoi. Go. Smash shot.
Yang saya panggil tak menyahut, kebetulan tak menyahut, saya anggap dia tak ada kelas ya. Muhammad Helmi. Line tak okey, so you tak boleh nak. Sekejap ya.
Aduh, saya naik.
Okey, saya nak cari Google lah pula. Okey, Nurul Nur Syahirah.
Aduh, aku ni.
Semua line tak okey ke?
Aku lain.
Evelyn, ada?
Ya, saya, doktor.
Okay. Can you translate the relationship that exists between branch and account based on the notation, multiplicity notation portrayed in the diagram?
Bergerak pula dia.
One branch may have 0 or more accounts.
Aku kena ding pula ni.
one account can have one branch, must have one branch.
Okay, you should highlight on the terms must because it is a cardinality, mandatory relationship.
Alright.
Okay,
Oh yo.
nak panggil seorang lagi.
Ada orang kat meet.
Nur Harsha Ilyana.
Yes, saya.
Okay, Harsha, can you translate the relationship between account and transaction?
Okay. One account must have can have one or many transaction, but one transaction must have one account.
Oh, tak kena.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hopefully you understand of how to translate relationship based on the multiplicity notation that you have learned. Okay. Okay, here's another example. Okay, for course enrollment at university. Okay, we have course or sections and student class here, 3 classes, where is each student's grade remembered in this model. Okay, so each section has many grades. Okay, each section has many grades, and each grade is association with a student. Okay, and each student has many grades. Okay, and each grade is association with a section. Okay, so the way you portray the association between each of the tables or entity here, okay, plays a vital role in determining how a particular student's grade will be remembered. Okay, so macam mana you nak linkkan setiap grade untuk setiap student, okay, dengan setiap section adalah bergantung kepada macam mana you menghubungkan setiap tables, setiap 3 tables ni lah. Okay, so make sure you have the right, you have put the right cardinality or multiplicity for each tables involved in this task. Okay. Okay, so an association that is related as a class in many-to-many association because it has attributes that need to be remembered, such as grade. Okay, so that is why we need to add another table, okay, that inherits attributes in cross sections like this. So kita kena come out with another table yang boleh record grade data for each student. Okay, kalau you tengok dekat sini dia ada interpret the association of course enrollment table with course sections and student table with the dotted line here. Okay. So, bila you dah tambah another table here that focus on to record the data for grade, then you tak ada masalah untuk menyimpan record secara asing bagi setiap student. Maksudnya you nak provide satu database yang khusus untuk you save the data on student's grade. Okay. Okay, next we have generalizations or specializations. Okay, it is actually a hierarchical relationship where subordinate classes are special types or types of the superior classes. Okay, it is often called an inheritance hierarchy. Okay, for example, okay, you dalam sistem you you ada
Kau itu.
Kau yang tu.
objek.
Apa nama tah? Dino apa tah?
Objek dia apa?
Kita kau public je tu.
Car.
Dia
Okay.
nak bagi kau terus ke apa?
So, car ni
Eh?
ia boleh dikatakan
Memang kau
sebagai
tak pakai lah.
superclass.
Memang kau tak pakai ke?
Okay. It is the superior or more general class in a generalization or specialization hierarchy. Okay. Subclass pula is actually the subordinate or more specialized class in a generalization. For example, we have Rodua. We have also Proton.
Mana kau punya ni?
Okay.
Ada.
Honda, Toyota. So these are the subclass. This one is super class. Okay, inheritance.
Kita main lagi dengan dia.
The concept that classes inherit criteria of the more general superclass. Okay, apakah attributes yang general yang ada pada car? Apa? Contoh, bagi saya contoh. Azimin.
Mayap.
Engine? Type?
Biar aku tak
Okay,
tahu.
Flat number.
Flat number. Apa lagi?
Number of tires? Number of tires?
Number of tires.
Sekejap tu, setting jap.
Okay, so these are the general criteria of the superclass that may be inherited by the subclass. Okay, so saya nak just nak explain you lah apakah yang dimaksudkan dengan terms inheritance kat sini. Maknanya ia mewarisi kriteria yang ada dalam superclass. Okay, so subclass yang you boleh decide dekat sini, you perlu tengok sama ada ia menepati tak, dia boleh inherit tak general criteria from the subclass, then you boleh include dalam dalam subclass.
Bodoh pernah cakap kejap.
Apa?
Malah nak reset.
Okay, so these are the examples of how to portray this apa kenyataan lah, kita nak gambarkan dalam bentuk diagrams. So we have motor vehicles. Okay, so motor vehicle ni ada banyak lah. Okay, yang ini adalah tadi kalau kita define car tu sebagai superclass. Okay, actually dia ada lagi dekat atas tu. Mungkin ia adalah super class. Okay, so dia ada satu lagi kelas dia dipanggil motor vehicle. So tak kisahlah sama ada you nak macam mana you nak come out with all these entities, sama ada daripada bawah ataupun daripada atas. Daripada motor vehicles pergi kepada truck, cars, tractors, ataupun you nak mula daripada bawah jenis kenderaan, contohnya Honda model apa, dia di bawah table Honda, dan Honda tu dia boleh inherit the attributes from the superclass which is car. Okay, dan car ni adalah kategori motor or motor vehicles. Okay, so this is actually the generalization or specializations. Okay, so yang ni saya dah explain tadi. Okay, we have abstract class. In generalizations, we have abstract class and also concrete class. Okay, so for abstract class, a class that allows subclasses to inherit criteria. Okay, for example, all disabled, telephone sale, in-store sales, online sales, okay, they inherit all these attributes. Okay, meaning that attributes in
Main sial.
superclass is
Kalau tak ada paper
uh,
pakai ghost lah.
ni lah,
Ghost
maknanya
satu-satu.
kita panggil dia sebagai abstract class lah sebab dia boleh inherit by the subclass. Okay, so this is we call as abstract class. For concrete class, a class that can have instances. Okay,
So,
we have more detailed
Apa?
explanation
Betul.
here. Okay. For example, a saving account has 4 attributes.
apa
Okay,
lag tu?
4 attributes. Kenapa? Okay, dalam table savings account there is one attribute here. Okay, we have interest rate. Okay, but please don't forget dia ada attributes lagi sebenarnya tapi dia inherit dalam account table. Okay, which are account ID, date open and also
Aku ingat aku jets lah.
balance. Okay, so
Kan E
kalau
bank.
ada dalam soalan test or final assessment nanti, okay, berapa, ditanya berapa attributes yang ada dalam savings account, so you need to answer 4 attributes because it is actually can inherit from this account. Okay, a checking account has 5 attributes. Okay, account ID, date open, balance, plus with another 2 attributes, which is check styles and also the minimum balance. Okay, hopefully you boleh faham konsep dia, konsep of specialization.
Kau dah ambil gila.
Okay, so there are actually 3 types of relationships. In class diagrams, we have association relationships. So these are association discussed previously in ERD. Okay, we also have whole part relationship. Okay, one class is a component or part of another class.
Aku punya wall ni bodoh lah.
And generalization. Dan kita dah belajar just now, inheritance. It is all about inheritance. Macam mana satu-satu subclass tu boleh inherit the attributes from their subclass. Okay.
76.
Okay, so itu sajalah. Ada apa-apa yang you tak clear tak dengan apa yang saya dah explain dalam topik ni?
1 tower on site.
Tak ada doktor, Alhamdulillah semua faham.
Boleh boleh. Kalau saya buat quiz secara ni, you boleh jawab
InsyaAllah.
InsyaAllah. Okay. So kita go through summary kot ada yang tertinggal.
Weapon kita semua tu.
Okay, so this topic partly focuses on modeling functional requirements as a part of system analysis. So you need to perform requirements analysis by generating proper complete self UML diagram so that you tak overlook any additional requirements from your systems. Okay, then we have things in the problem domains. Okay, identified and model called domain classes or data entities. Okay, yang ni tak boleh tahu macam mana nak come up with the classes and data entities. Ingat lagi kan, ada beberapa elements yang you need to consider to come up with all the list of classes and identities. And we also learn on the techniques. Macam mana kita boleh come up with all the these. Kita ada 2, brainstorming and also now techniques. Okay. And selebihnya untuk the documentation part for UML and your class diagram, Madam Wan will explain more lah, okay, in detail of how to come up with all those documentation for requirement analysis. Okay, so that is all from me. Okay, hope you guys have a good day. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, doktor.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you,
Thank you,
doktor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.
Loan saving kan. Wall Street dulu. Wow.
Aku ada ni tu kan. Meshpang Sharif.
Noi. Tak apa aku ke shorty. Dah ada ulti tu. Buat apa plan? Plan so lah. Because you have no ulti bro. Aduh masalah. Kau jaga situ lah.
Bye mana sial. Tak sempat. Huh.
Belum. What? Yes bro.
I need skin. You know
Of
skin?
course bro.
Nak Tun?
You
Benda?
can give me spike now. Huh?
Nak benda? Boleh bagi ni dah implant.
Wah ada operator je. The fuck? Tak nak naik eh? Oi, match power operator lah.
Weh, shit. Tahu lah bodoh Meshpang ni. Kau nampak kan Tun? Bila dia pop up dia punya apa tu? Scope tu.
Tahu.
Tahu lah tu. Bila dia pop up dia punya scope tu. Habis Sova kaya lah pantat. Kimak Sova. Alah babi aku dah tembak dulu sial.
Oh no, now we got to run. No, I'm alone. Nani the fuck? Lah, aku nak kau orang anjing rupanya. Anjing betul. Let's play mid. Let's play mid. Go to B tunnel. What the fuck?
Babi lah aku nak ambil ikan syal.
Oh, laju sial.
Bodoh dia tahu dia kau nak pergi sini.
Nampaknya wave di situ.
Tu nak vendor. Kau tak ada duit ke syal?
Aduh. Skin lah bro. Main tu mat hai. Baru nak cakap.
Bodoh lah dia.
Berapa orang operator ni? 2, 3.
Kau ada ulti.
Tahu. Dah. Ikut belakang aku kan.
Sheesh.
Oh, kayaknya dorang. Nani the fuck? Nice, nice, nice. Can you recon for me? Oh, ni siapa ni?
Dading 105. Viper. Viper low as fuck. Babi dia aku ding dia syal. 105. Dia dulu. Tuluh. Nice man.